What happens when America's top spy chief is suddenly fired without explanation?
And when intelligence reports clash with politics, does truth become the first casualty?
Welcome back to The Voice Vista, your trusted window into global politics, power shifts, and the stories shaping our world. Today's headline, straight from Washington, sounds like a scene from a political thriller. The Pentagon has just fired its intelligence chief. Yes, you heard that right. America's top military spy master is out.
That's Lieutenant General Jeffery Kruse, who is leading the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency. His sudden dismissal comes only weeks after a stormy clash between the White House and the Pentagon over a controversial intelligence report on Iran. No official explanation has been given for the firing, and that silence is raising even more questions.
Exactly. Let's rewind a bit. In June, a DIA report suggested that U.S. strikes on Iran only delayed its nuclear program by, quote, months. But the White House rejected that assessment outright. President Trump called the report flat out wrong and even went further, insisting that Iran's nuclear sites were completely destroyed.
And remember, this wasn't just a minor policy debate. Trump accused the media of trying to demean one of the most successful military strikes in history. That kind of language doesn't just dismiss intelligence, it sets the stage for loyalty tests inside the national security establishment.
And here's where things get even more dramatic. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, speaking at the NATO summit, labeled the DIA report as based on quote, low intelligence. He also confirmed the FBI was investigating how it leaked. Now, Kruse's ouster seems directly tied to that controversy.
But it's not just Kruse. Reports say two other senior military leaders have also been shown the door. The head of U.S. Naval Reserves and the commander of Naval Special Warfare Command. That's a major shakeup in America's defense leadership.
And let's not forget, this isn't an isolated incident. Senator Mark Warner has warned that firing Kruse shows a dangerous trend where intelligence is treated as a loyalty test rather than a safeguard for the nation. And history seems to back him up.
Right. In July, Trump ordered the dismissal of the Commissioner of Labor Statistics after a report showed job growth slowing. Back in April, he fired General Timothy H. as director of the National Security Agency. And earlier this year, even the Air Force chief, General Q. Brown, was pushed out. One after another, officials who delivered inconvenient truths have been sidelined.
So the bigger question is this. What happens when intelligence, the raw, unfiltered assessment of facts, gets politicized? When truth collides with power, who pays the price? In this case, it seems the generals do.
But the consequences extend far beyond the Pentagon's walls. Intelligence isn't just about Washington politics, it's the backbone of global security. If analysts fear being fired for their conclusions, how reliable will America's decisions be in a crisis?
And that's the cliffhanger we leave you with today. Is this simply house cleaning, or is it a dangerous precedent where truth becomes negotiable?
You're listening to The Voice Vista. Stay tuned as we continue to decode the shifting landscape of global power, one story at a time.
And remember, when the headlines sound like a political drama, we're here to bring you the context, the clarity, and the conversation. Until next time.